Hi everyone, welcome to SchoolAdvisor, where we empower parents to make the right choices with Malaysian schools and more. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we're very happy to have with us Ms. April Peters, Principal of KDU Klang. A brand new addition to the international school scene, KDU International School Klang is the first and only school in Asia dedicated to nurturing students to become the digital leaders of tomorrow. KDU Klang is the first Microsoft flagship school in Southeast Asia, as well as a Microsoft showcase school. We have a few questions for Ms. Peters today, and we'll be touching on the subject of digital leadership, as well as her vision for this forward-thinking school. Thank you so much for joining us today, Ms. April Peters, and we'll just jump right into it.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Firstly, what is digital leadership? If you could tell us a little bit about that.
So I guess I have to be really specific about this because it's what digital leadership is for me and my school. Because if you look on the internet, there are loads of different definitions. So for me, a digital leader is someone who can embrace, they can leverage, and they can manage innovation, whether that's technological innovation or whether that's digital innovation. And that's what the essence is of what my school is all about. So if I have got students in my school who can do all those three and do it very well and can manage change within themselves or an organization, then that to me is what digital leadership is all about.
Okay, yep, that makes sense. And following that, can you tell us a little bit about the digital leadership program at KDU Klang and how it will be implemented into or alongside the academic content?
Okay, yeah. So for us, it's so important to us. And so therefore, we've given some time within our timetable for a digital leadership program. And that spans from our primary school all the way through into our secondary school, because we're really invested in this. We're really invested in 21st century learning and our students becoming true digital leaders. So it's not just a program, it's about the culture of the school. So although we're a Cambridge school, we're looking at ways in which we can bring digital leadership into the delivery within our normal classrooms, whether that's global perspectives, whether that's phonics, whether that's English or maths, because to me, it can't just be separated from a person. Oh, I'm a digital leader 1 minute, and then I'm a normal academic learner the next. That doesn't work. So it's part and parcel of the whole culture of the school. So that's with the academic subjects, but because we're the founders of this, the frontier people of this, we've also got to build that understanding and build that knowledge for our students to come through the school. So we do have discrete lessons, and we call them, surprise, surprise, the Digital Leadership Program. And that at the moment, it's a building and it's a moving force. We're using partners of Microsoft. So we're using the Digital Media Academy, which is from the Stanford TED program. We're using some of their courses, which are fantastic. They're really grounded in technology. They're grounded with regards to aligning with STEM. They're also aligned with the international standards of technology education. So this isn't something that we're making up as we're going along. We're really founding in what's there and true. So we do that. We're also looking into discovery education. And again, that is blending the technology with the academic subjects as well. Outside of that, we've got the leadership opportunities. So already I've got students in my school who I am calling digital champions, and they've had some training on 3D printers, and they will share that training with other students and with teachers, and that will develop to our AV and so on and so forth. So again, it's really much about creating this culture within the school. Some of that is also about bringing in the outside, because as a school, sometimes we're not at the edge of the cutting technology, and I'm very aware of that. So I'm going to bring people in. So we're establishing relationships with universities and their professors and their deans to come in and speak to our students about what they're researching right here and right now, and what it's going to look like in the future. That is just so powerful for our students. The other aspect of that is having TED Talks. So TED Talks, or what we will call Tech Talks, and asking, again, industry leaders to come in, entrepreneurs, because I really like the entrepreneur vibe at this particular moment in time. And they're coming in. So we've got a guy who's going to be talking about his work on Adobe Illustrator, for example, and how he's using it now and how it's likely to happen in the future, but also how our students can get involved and develop their skills if that is their particular strength, and so on and so forth. But it's not just about tech, the digital leadership program. I need to be really clear about that. It's about students embracing technology, but being able to take that wherever they want to. So into the law, into education, into into public service, wherever, but understanding where technology plays that role. So it's not just one thing we're doing, it's the whole thing around the child and leading them down this pathway of digital leadership. That was a very long answer. That's the answer.
It sounds really exciting, to be honest. And I think bringing in people with real life experience is really going to enrich the experience for the kids. So yeah, absolutely a long answer, but I think well worth it. And so, I mean, probably you've already answered the question in a way, but what is it about this program that makes Sri KDU Klang stand out amongst other tech-forward schools?
Okay. So, as I've said, for me, it's about the culture. Mm-hmm. And I know some schools, every school now should be thinking like this, because otherwise I feel we're doing a disservice to our students. But it's how they're doing it, and I think that's the big difference. So some of them are just having those discrete lessons as part of their curriculum. They're doing it as an after-school provision. They're doing it in slightly different ways, and not the way that we're doing it with regards to building that whole culture and immersing technology and the digital world in everything that we're doing as we're going forward. So I think that's the big difference for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And being able to, as you say, bringing it into whatever career they may be choosing, whether it's law, whether it's public service even, it's really about thinking ahead in that sense, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And in particular, we're curious to know, how does the digital leadership program build up students' capacity for adversity, and for change?
So again, for me, the whole thing about creating digital leaders is that we actually don't know what's out there. We don't know what's going to happen in 20 years. We don't know what careers are going to be out there. So we need to think in a very different way. We know that technology is going to expand, it's going to change, it's going to develop. So that is, in a way, the one constant that's going to happen. So we actually know that. So what we need to make sure that my students are doing are understanding that, so that they have a mindset that is ready for change and they know how to deal with change. And the other aspect of the school is that we operate the 16 habits of mind, which are the attributes for the most successful people. What they are attributes to solve problems, and adversity is a problem. And that's as I look at it very simply. So when we're dealing with adversity, we need to problem solve it and we need to come through it. And that's the kind of mindset, the growth mindset that we're going to carry on with regards to the leadership aspect of our students. And it's about them understanding that they're not going to learn, nobody in this world now learns absolutely everything to do their role, to do their job. There is that element of, if you don't know, you've got to find out about it yourself, or ask somebody else, or ask somebody else to ask somebody else. So your self-development, and that aspect to me is key to the understanding of how to deal with adversity moving forward. It's just a problem, we need to gain the skills and move through it. So that's how I expect my students to deal with it. But I see it as an opportunity. I'm one of these glass half full kind of people. So any adversity to me is an opportunity. So and that's the mindset I want my students to see as well.
That's a very positive mindset, very refreshing. Yeah, absolutely. And just talking a little bit more about this, Sri KDU Klang is the first Microsoft flagship school in Southeast Asia, as I mentioned before, and a Microsoft showcase school. What does this mean to parents and students, and how will this help to achieve the school's goals of building digital leaders?
So I think in the first instance, it was literally just for me as the principal coming in and checking what I wanted to do for a school. Am I absolutely crazy to be doing this? Was the question. So speaking to the Microsoft people to look at their research, to look at their 21st century learning, their transformation framework, and saying, does this actually fit with future teaching, future learning? So that was my check, really. And then looking at it and say, okay, so what is it that I need to put into my curriculum, what I need to put into my infrastructure, what I need to put in my resources to actually meet those goals. So I think that's what Microsoft did for me in the first instance. When my staff came on board, obviously, because we're a Microsoft school, we get all the productivity applications and software. So that's great because I don't have to buy that. So that's a cost implication for me. But then it's about training teachers, because Microsoft have got a fantastic platform to training. And there's always stuff that is going to be new, what's new, the products they're launching or ways of teaching. So my teachers are all currently, 100% of them are MIEs, which is a Microsoft Innovative Educator. And they can log in at any moment in time and they can upskill themselves. And that's an ongoing culture within the school, that they're building up their Microsoft badges. So for me, that's making sure that they're ready to deliver the kind of curriculum that the children need to make them into the digital learners. So I suppose that's what their staff get out of it. For parents, they get that whole package. They get me and my philosophy and making sure that it's future-proof for their children. It's making sure that the staff are equipped to be able to deliver that curriculum. And it's also linking us with partners who are like-minded, who are going to give me those educational solutions to make sure that my children are on the correct learning path, whether that's in my primary school or whether that's in my secondary school. So for example, I've already mentioned DMA, have a fantastic partnership with them. Jamie Turner has been working wonders with my core team here, how we can develop it, how it's going to fit into what we want and not just be a product that we pick off a shelf and we just deliver because we think that it is. We're not doing that. We're altering it. And that's all down to being a Microsoft partner, I guess, and moving forward. So what parents get, they get a fully fledged curriculum that is future-proofed and will continue to be future-proof because we've got Microsoft there supporting us to be able to do that.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Thanks for that. Moving on in terms of a more holistic view, how does Sri KDU Klang ensure that students get an academic yet holistic education, in line with thinking of tomorrow?
Yeah. So, yes, we are thinking about tomorrow, but we're also thinking the child here and now. And every Sri KDU school is very holistic in its methodologies. So the child is very much at the center of what we do. And there are elements that go around that child. So there's the academic element, there's obviously the growth mindset element, there's regards to the digital leadership program here, particularly in Klang, but it's the other aspects about what makes a person and how do they understand who they are in the world and who they're going to be. And so that's about the holistic. So that's the opportunities. We have PSHLE in the program, which is personal, social, and leadership and health education. So that's about them understanding how to deal with their mind, their mental health, how to deal with relationships, how to deal with global goals and where is their part within that, but also understanding who they are as a person. And so to do that, you have to experience things, you have to have those opportunities. So that's with the opportunities that we offer after school, that's the opportunities we offer as part of being part of a house and being part of the leadership program with regards to, coming forward, are you a member of the school council? Will you be a prefect? Will you be one of our digital leaders? So it's giving them lots of opportunities, not just the academic, for them to be able to grow as an individual and nurture their strengths, but also, let's be fair, to look at our weaknesses and to say, okay, I'm not very good at this. What am I going to do about it as an individual? So they go from a question of who am I to I am this person and I'm confident with this person, and yet I know I've got my strengths and weaknesses. So to me, that is holistic education, moving them from that thinking process from who am I to I am. So that's the holisticness that we have. Part of the pastoral program is that every child has 2 form tutors. And the reason we do that is so that they've always got that one connection. If they don't connect with 2 people, then they're always going to connect with the others. The pastoral program is not just a homeroom situation. It's them contacting with their teachers to say, April wasn't very well today. Can you just keep an eye on her? Or can you check that she has done her maths homework today because she forgot it last week? That to me is that pastoral care and the holistic growth of a child within the school.
Right. So you're saying that every child has 2 tutors, is that right?
So in secondary school, that's what we've got, because obviously in secondary they then move to individual subject tutors, subject teachers. In primary, that's a slightly different, because our curriculum there is delivered by their class teacher. So their class teacher delivers all of their core. So they really get to know their students because they're delivering a lot of their curriculum to them. So it's a slightly different model in primary because they're always there, they're always in the classroom, and they have specialist teachers that come in and deliver, yet the class teacher is always there. So it's a slightly different model, but again, it's about the child being at the centre, making sure that they feel cared for, they feel safe. And if you feel those 2 things, then actually your learning can grow and grow and grow, because that supports the academic growth of the child.
Absolutely. What is your vision for the school, and what do you want students to have achieved by the time they graduate?
Okay, so I suppose my vision is to create digital leaders. I suppose that's it. What I want them to leave with is knowing who they are and being confident as a person. And if they've also got that understanding of what the digital world can do for them and what they can do within the digital world, I suppose that's what it is. I want them to understand how they can make a positive impact on the world, either just in their own small world, within part of their family or part of their peer group, within when they go to pre-U, when they go to university, or whether they come back in and their industry, their Malaysian leaders, whoever they are, they've got that confidence to say, I can do this. I can do anything if I put my mind to it. So that's what I want my students to be able to go out there. And I want them to be proud of who they are as a person. So digital leaders, but also have the humanity of who they are and be humble in who they are as well.
I think we feel like we want to be a part of your school as well, hearing it.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's talk a little bit about yourself. You have an impressive background. Can you elaborate a bit on your past achievements, but as well as the challenges you have faced in your career so far?
Okay, so I've been in education. It almost is all of my life. In fact, all of my life, from my schooling all the way through, and then into university, and then out into school. So for me, it's always been a vocation for me. It's who I am. It's part of my identity, to be fair. I think my career, I was very, very blessed that one of my first schools, excuse the bell, my first schools, I had the opportunity to do both roles. I had the opportunity to be a pastoral leader, but also an academic leader. And that to me is the foundation of who I am, because I really understand how one supports the other. So I had roles of being a head of year, as well as being heads of subjects. So I've done what I term my apprenticeship. I've gone through, I've had 10 years of doing that, knowing the craft, knowing how to teach, how to support, also developing with regards to teacher training. I've then gone through my career. I'm very lucky that I've gone to the right places at the right time and been able to develop and hone my skills and work with some fantastic mentors along the way, to becoming and getting my head teacher qualification while I was still in the UK. So that was great. I've also worked in some very, very tough UK schools, and again that builds that resilience of changing and building, understanding that relationships are key, building those relationships with parents. So that's my head teacher, I suppose, was the pinnacle. I then I got to a point I needed something different. I needed a change, and so that's when I looked to international education, and I was very lucky to become the founding vice principal of KDU International School, Kota Damansara. And that was an eye opener, coming to Malaysia, coming to Asia, and a very different mindset for education, which I loved, because I can concentrate on the academics rather than perhaps the behavioural that I dare say is overshadows things. And I'm very proud of helping that school, setting the foundations to what it is today. But I can't take credit for what it is today, because that's down to Mrs. Rafi. But I think I'm there in the cornerstones somewhere, and that's very proud of that. I then went back to the UK because I felt I needed to immerse myself again in pedagogy. So I went back and I worked as a teacher trainer, training brand new graduates to become outstanding teachers. And I love that. I love that, sharing that passion. This is what worked for me. This is not what worked for me. Try this, try that, and developing them through as trainers. So I love that, and that's part of Teach First, which you've got a similar organisation here, which is Teach for Malaysia, I believe. So the links for there were, oh wow, great. And then the opportunity to come back, to work with Sri KDU again, which I feel very much part of the Sri KDU family, to be able to come back and work with them to found this school has been, I suppose, the pinnacle of my career to date. Yeah, I think that's it. The challenges, change is the challenge. That they're always, it's forever, education, as it should be, is ever changing, but it's about being really ruthless about what you're going to latch onto and use. And I tend to use, because I'm so old, my experience to say, yeah, I've seen that working, that works. This one, I'm not quite sure of. You need to give me some more time, some more research about that. So change is either a challenge or, again, it's an opportunity. But I like to think about and consider change with regards to how is it going to impact. And if it's not going to be impactful, I'm not going to change. It's as simple as that. So that's the major challenge, choosing what to implement and when to implement it and when to develop it.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. And I think that kind of segues very well into the next question, which is, touching on your position as the founding vice principal of Sri KDU Damansara. What do you hope to bring from your experience there? And is there anything that you would do differently for the Sri KDU Klang school?
So the vision is sort of like transforming lives through education. That's the mission and vision from Sri KDU School. So that is something that I bought into way down the line, and it's something that I'm still very much bought into now. So that won't change. And the push with regards to having academic excellence, I'll bring that. I've brought that across from Coach Damansara. But I say that there's also that underpinning with care. Because we've got to make sure I will challenge my students to be the very best they can, but I will do that within a caring environment. So that is something for me that was established in Coach Damansara, and it's something that I will certainly protect very strongly here in Klang. I think things that I would change, I don't think I would change very much, because the culture that's why I brought back into KDU, because I like the culture, I like the family feel of it. The change for Klang is the focus, and that slight change to being really focused on that digital leadership aspect for me. Although the other Sri KDU schools are technologically ready and looking future forward, I think we've got just that slightly stronger emphasis of it within Klang. Yeah, and something that we'd like to share across the group as a whole and to the wider group that we've got now.
Okay, all right, yeah. So from your vast experience, Ms. Peters, how does Sri KDU in general, whether the Klang campus or the Damansara campus, how does it compare to the other schools that you've led so far?
I think I'm going to go back to my family answer, really, because we really do, as all four separate schools, that's the national schools and the international schools, we do operate from a basis of family, I guess, and making sure that we look after each other and making sure that we share our experiences for the betterment of everybody. I haven't experienced that in all of my schools, if I'm absolutely honest. Sometimes it's very much, it's just a business. It's almost like a factory, get the children in, deliver to them, and they go out the door. Whereas that's not the case here, and never will be the case while I'm sat in this chair. And I'm sure that the principals would say exactly the same in the other campuses. So it's very much about the child being at the centre, making our choices and decisions around that child, and making sure that we give them the best opportunities that we can within an educational setting, and supporting them and challenging them to be the best people that they can. So I suppose that's what's unique to us. And I haven't felt it this strongly in any of my other organizations. Yeah.
Okay, well, that says a lot about the culture, as you say, right?
Yeah.
That's really nice to hear. And finally, speaking of change, what is your advice to educators about how to navigate teaching during these uncertain times, as well as moving forward post-pandemic?
So I think for me, it's having that mindset that actually we're not in control of everything at all now. So we need to have that really growth mindset with regards to, okay, things are going to change, and it's about how we change, how we find those solutions, how we keep that open-mindedness to be able to deliver and cope with those changes. That's important to me. And if we keep that growth mindset, then we're resilient enough. We can bounce back of whatever challenges come to us. So I guess that's one of the things I would say. So keep open-minded and don't be afraid to say, this is going to get hard. This is going to challenge us. And then what we're doing is we're setting the mindset that when it does become difficult, it's okay, it's difficult, let's go past it. And so I guess that's for me as the advice to any leaders, I guess, moving forward, and be ready to change. When the time is right, you will need to react to make sure that your students are doing the best that they can, and also their staff, because the school's not just about the students, it's about the whole community. And if one part isn't working quite right, then the other part doesn't. So I guess that's it, finding that balance and keeping that open mindset.
Okay, all right, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time, Ms. Peters. I think it was a very enlightening conversation, and we look forward to having more of this perhaps in the future.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Always love speaking about my school, so thanks very much. Thank you.